In this eye-opening video, we delve into the stark contrast between the wildlife policies of President Biden and former President Trump. While Biden has made significant strides in restoring endangered species protections and creating new national monuments, Trump's environmental deregulation efforts have jeopardized these gains. Join us as we explore how the current administration's investment in conservation stands in direct opposition to the previous administration's push for fossil fuels and the weakening of critical environmental protections. Discover the implications of these actions for the future of U.S. wildlife and our planet. 1. Biden's restoration of endangered species protection. In March 2024, President Joe Biden took a decisive step to reverse the environmental policies of his predecessor by reinstating crucial rules under the Endangered Species Act, ESA. These rules had been rolled back during Donald Trump's presidency, significantly weakening protections for threatened species and their habitats. The restoration aimed to strengthen the ESA, which is often seen as a cornerstone of American wildlife conservation efforts. Biden's move was celebrated by environmentalists who viewed it as a necessary correction to the previous administration's actions. The ESA's reinstatement under Biden's leadership was a clear signal of his commitment to prioritizing conservation over industrial interests. This action was part of a broader strategy to address the impacts of climate change and habitat destruction on vulnerable wildlife populations. 2. Trump's environmental deregulation efforts. During his presidency, Donald Trump took a very different approach to environmental regulation, prioritizing the dismantling of existing protections. His administration's actions were often criticized for favoring short-term economic gains over long-term conservation goals. Environmental regulations, including those designed to protect wildlife, were frequently targeted in a bid to boost industrial activities. This approach was met with concern from conservationists who argued that it could lead to irreversible damage to ecosystems. Trump's policies reflected a broader trend of environmental deregulation that characterized his time in office. By prioritizing industrial interests, the Trump administration often sidelined conservation efforts, leading to significant challenges for wildlife preservation. 3. Biden's creation of new national monuments. In January 2025, President Biden demonstrated his commitment to conservation by establishing the Chuckwalla and Sadegla Highlands National Monuments. This action marked a record-breaking move in the world of wildlife protection, safeguarding critical habitats and preserving biodiversity. The creation of these national monuments was a significant step in protecting the natural landscapes that are home to numerous species. By designating these areas as national monuments, Biden aimed to ensure that they would remain untouched by industrial development. This move was praised by environmental groups as a bold and necessary action to protect vital ecosystems. It highlighted Biden's focus on preserving the natural heritage of the United States for future generations. 4. Trump's rollback of the Clean Power Plan. One of the significant environmental actions taken by the Trump administration was the repeal of the Clean Power Plan. This Obama-era policy was designed to reduce carbon emissions from power plants, a critical step in combating climate change. Trump's rollback of the plan had potential negative implications for wildlife habitats, as climate change continues to threaten ecosystems. Critics argued that the repeal would exacerbate the effects of climate change, putting additional pressure on already vulnerable species. By prioritizing fossil fuel interests, the Trump administration's decision to undo the Clean Power Plan was seen as a setback for environmental progress. This action underscored the contrasting environmental policies between the Trump and Biden administrations. 5. Biden's ban on mining near Chaco Canyon. In a move to protect vital ecosystems, the Biden administration implemented a mining ban within a 10-mile radius of Chaco Canyon. This decision conserved over 60,000 acres of land, safeguarding the wildlife that inhabits the area. Chaco Canyon is not only an archaeological treasure but also a crucial habitat for many species. By banning mining activities, Biden aimed to ensure the preservation of this unique ecosystem. The decision was applauded by conservationists and local communities who had long advocated for the protection of Chaco Canyon. This action was part of Biden's broader strategy to balance environmental conservation with economic development, emphasizing the importance of protecting natural resources. 6. Trump's weakening of the Endangered Species Act. In 2019, the Trump administration finalized changes that weakened the Endangered Species Act, making it more challenging to protect species threatened by climate change and other factors. These changes were criticized for prioritizing economic considerations over scientific assessments of species needs. Critics argued that the weakened ESA would leave many species vulnerable to extinction, particularly those already facing threats from habitat loss and climate change. The Trump administration's approach to the ESA reflected a broader trend of prioritizing short-term economic interests. By altering the act, Trump made it more challenging for conservationists to secure protections for at-risk species. This decision was seen as a significant departure from previous conservation efforts. 7. Biden's investment in conservation projects. Under the America the Beautiful Challenge, the Biden-Harris administration announced over $122 million in grants to support high-priority, locally led conservation projects. This initiative was launched in partnership with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, emphasizing a collaborative approach to conservation. The investment aimed to address critical conservation needs across the United States, focusing on preserving habitats and supporting biodiversity. By providing financial support, the Biden administration sought to empower local communities and organizations to lead conservation efforts. This approach highlighted Biden's commitment to building partnerships and investing in the long-term health of natural ecosystems. The America the Beautiful Challenge was a significant step in promoting sustainable conservation practices. 8. Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. President Trump's decision to withdraw the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement was met with widespread criticism from environmentalists. The agreement was a global effort to combat climate change and its impacts on the planet, including wildlife habitats. Critics argued that the withdrawal could exacerbate climate change, negatively affecting ecosystems worldwide. By stepping away from the agreement, Trump's administration signaled a departure from international collaboration on environmental issues. This decision was seen as a setback for global efforts to address climate change and protect biodiversity. The withdrawal from the Paris Agreement underscored the differing priorities between the Trump and Biden administrations in addressing environmental challenges. 9. Biden's strengthening of ESA regulations. The Biden administration took steps to strengthen ESA regulations, ensuring a science-based approach to conservation. By finalizing rules to restore important protections, Biden aimed to prioritize the needs of species and their habitats. This move was part of a broader strategy to address the challenges posed by climate change and habitat destruction. The strengthened ESA regulations emphasized the importance of scientific assessments in conservation efforts. Biden's approach to the ESA reflected a commitment to preserving biodiversity and protecting vulnerable species. This action was seen as a necessary step in reversing the damage caused by the previous administration's environmental policies. 10. Trump's promotion of fossil fuels. Throughout his presidency, Donald Trump promoted the extraction of fossil fuels, often opening public lands and waters to drilling. This approach posed significant risks to various wildlife species and their habitats. By prioritizing fossil fuel interests, the Trump administration's policies were criticized for disregarding the environmental consequences. The promotion of fossil fuels was seen as a significant departure from efforts to transition to renewable energy sources. Critics argued that this approach threatened the long-term health of ecosystems and contributed to climate change. Trump's focus on fossil fuels highlighted the contrasting environmental priorities between his administration and that of President Biden.